Hello my dear stitchy friends, my name is Marie and welcome to the 7th episode of my Flosstube where we talk about cross stitch. It's Sunday 22nd of May 2022 here in the lovely town of Barry in South Wales in the UK, and I am so pleased to have you here. If you're new here, this channel is all about cross-stitching and shopping of cross-stitching supplies. I hope you like what you see and that you decide to follow along for the journey. And if you're returning, I am ever so grateful for you. This community is just absolutely wonderful. I am so grateful that you are supporting my channel and I hope you enjoy this episode. So what are we going to be talking about today? The past couple of weeks, because it's been 2 weeks since my last update, have been so incredibly busy. I've got so much to tell you. I hope I'm not going to forget anything, but this is going to be a long one. So I'll try to divide it into some manageable sections. So first of all, we're sort of going to, as usual, touch up on my last video. We're going to do some Flosstube shout outs, a mania update. I'm going to show you 2 new mania starts since we last sort of seen each other. I'm going to, as usual, show you an unplanned start because it's me, and some other whips that I've worked on in the past 2 weeks. I will show you some haul, which is this time very heavily charity focused. I will tell you something about life and give you some update, nothing bad, all the good stuff, but I'll sort of keep it towards the end of the video, and then I'm going to tell you some stitchy plans that will be sort of scattered about this whole video, I feel like. So let's crack on with it. Last video, I wanted to say a massive thank you to everybody who's commented on my last video. I sort of wasn't sure whether to include this Convoy of Liberty photo sort of slide on my last video, and the response was absolutely wonderful. It was, you know, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I received some emails, I received wonderful comments, and all I can say, I am so happy that I've given joy to some of you, and that you've enjoyed it. I am terribly happy. And one amazing thing came out of it. I have an Instagram friend. She is living in New Zealand, but her family originally comes from Czech Republic, and they've been living in New Zealand for a couple of generations now. But it absolutely, you know, we've spoken to each other, but we've never, I guess, talked about where my family comes from and where her family comes from. But it turns out we're from the same region. We're like, you know, within an hour drive from Pilsen. Like I'd be on the north and their family would be to the south. So it's absolutely just, you know, the world is so small and full of happy coincidences. So that was last video, and I just want to say in general, thank you so much for your comments and your emails. I'm not always really quick with responding, just because life, work, and this channel, which I quite underestimated how much sort of work it would be, but it's a work that is absolutely just, you know, joy to me. I just want to make sure that I take the time to respond properly to your comments and to anything that you send my way. So thank you ever so much. I read every single comment, email, Instagram message, and I will definitely get back to you if I haven't already. I wanted to also touch on nerd hoops again. So those are these, size 4, size 3, and there is just this absolutely continuous love for this for these hoops outpouring into the pouring into the community, and I just want to say how happy I am that I get to be the one helping to spread the good word about these. They are absolutely fantastic. For those who are UK based, there is a discount code valid on Nerd's website that says send D, S&D, one word. I'm going to put all the details down below. It is a 10% site-wide discount in case you wanted to get hold of your Nerd hoop as well. All details about the hoops are in my video number 5, where I've given sort of a full review of how I find these. And I wanted to say that in the US, because the manufacturer here in the UK doesn't ship internationally, so in the US we've established that they are in Joann's as premium hoops. They are on Amazon Prime, but they are also on 123 Stitch, and I am going to put a link to them in the description below, just in case somebody wanted to get hold of these in the US and hasn't done so yet. I got a comment on the last video where I've shown the plastic Santa and said that my fingers were absolutely just, you know, done afterwards. And the recommendation was to get a thimble. And thank you for that. I did actually try to, you know, take my thimble, but I hate the steel ones. I can't stand the way they feel on my skin, and there is just something about it that I don't know, I can't. The sensory sort of feeling is just too much for me. So I went on Amazon and I saw that there's a number of silicone thimble options, but I haven't yet seen anybody sort of use it or try it. So if there was anybody who could give me a recommendation on a good silicone thimble that sort of feels good on the finger, I would be massively grateful if you could pop that down in the comments below. Brand, or just a recommendation on what it should have, or anything. I'll be grateful for anything. So thank you so much for your comments and for this, you know, the contact I'm getting in this community, because it's absolutely wonderful. And speaking of which, I would like to also thank for all the shout outs I've received. I have not been able to catch up on all of them, so if I don't thank everybody who shouted me out in this particular video, it's on my list of videos to catch up with, and I will definitely do that in the coming days, and will mention you specifically in the next video. But I wanted to say that the videos that I have seen are specifically from Jess at Yasmin's Made with Love. Thank you so much for your lovely shout outs, Jess. Jess is Polish. She is living in London, which I'm majorly jealous about because I miss London all the time. I love Wales. You know, we love the nature, we love the people, we love where we live, but I still miss London quite a bit. So hello to London, yes. Jess is a Barbara Anna enthusiast. I mean, she just stitches wonderful, beautiful projects, and it really makes me want to do another unplanned start on my Barbara Annas that I have in stash. Yes, mentioned one sentence that I would stitch and put on my t-shirt. It says, my stitching really suffers because of my employment. I agree, yes, mine does too. Yes, is also one of those people where I just don't know how you do it. So Yas has got 4 kids, employment, school, she's studying, she runs half marathons and marathons, she sews and stitches, and I think crochets. How do you do it? Like, I'm really happy when I can go to, you know, sort of do my work, cook dinner, vacuum clean, not the whole house, part of the house and stitch. And that is sort of my accomplishment for the day. So I think I would need to go to some, you know, productivity school, because, and you know, I take lessons from you, yes, because I have got so much appreciation for everything you know you're doing, for everything that you're able to cram. And yes, it's also got wonderful sense of humor. So if you haven't visited her channel yet, please go ahead and do that, because the projects, the finishings, the creativity, and the whole package of her channel is just wonderful, and I'm terribly enjoying it. And the next Flosstuber I'd like to mention is a very new Flosstuber, but definitely not a new stitcher. Her name is Jess. Her channel is Little by Piku. She's a New Zealand based stitcher in Auckland, and her stitchy wall behind her is just to die for. I now have like definitely something to aspire to. It's just a wall full of Satsuma Street cities. I believe that Jess has mentioned that she has stitched all of them apart from Seattle. So it is a, you know, it is a lot of stitching happened on that wall, and a sort of lot of other finishes, and a lot of FFOs that that Jess is sharing. And I just, you know, really appreciate her sense of humor, and she's very much to the point, which is something that I can only aspire to, because I digress everywhere. And you know, I thank you, Jess, for having such a wonderful Flosstube, and for giving me an opportunity to follow your journey. If you don't know Jess yet, please go and check her out, because she's fantastic. I also wanted to mention Sarah at Somi Sarah, because she has recently, in her last video, she has celebrated a 1-year Flossiversary, whichever version of the word you prefer. And congratulations, Sarah, you are wonderful. I love your Flosstube. I love your stitching, your kindness, and everything you bring into this community. I feel so privileged for being able to follow your channel. And I also wanted to thank Sarah for including a bunting tutorial in her previous video. She has mentioned that she's doing gazillion buntings for her school, for the school she works in. I think it's Charlotte School. And so she has included a lovely tutorial for how to do that, because here in the UK we've got a Platinum Jubilee coming up, celebration of the Queen being on the throne for 70 years. I mean, can we just all appreciate how long that is to be in service and sort of, you know, doing the duty to her country. So it's definitely something that is going to be very much celebrated in here. And Sarah was doing the bunting in the colours of British flag, and she has given such a thorough explanation on how to do the bunting. So I might actually have, you know, sort of give it a small go as well now. I feel more confident after watching that tutorial that I'd actually be able to. So thank you so much, Sarah, and happy first Flosstubersary from the bottom of my heart. And last but not least, because I will mention more further down the line, but I wanted to give a special thank you to Karen and Brendon from Fox and Rabbit. Obviously, Fox and Rabbit, you know, you can hear me mention their fabrics very often. This is their 40 count saltbush linen, but they also have a wonderful Flosstube channel. So if you have not visited their Flosstube, I would highly recommend you do so. And why I wanted to thank them specifically is because they have set up a monthly Stitchy Zoom that is free to attend. You can simply go to their website into an events section, and you can just free of charge sort of purchase for £0 or dollars or whatever currency, a ticket to their monthly Zoom session, which I had the pleasure to attend the previous Saturday. I think there's a capacity of 50 people, so if you'd be interested in a Stitch Zoom with Fox and Rabbit, I would highly recommend to sort of get in there and grab your ticket. When I was reserving mine for the next Stitch event, I think there was about 20 left, so, and that was a week ago. So run, don't walk, if you're interested in this. And so I had the pleasure of visiting or taking part in that Stitch Zoom on Saturday night. It was starting at 11 p.m. here in the UK. I think it was 8 a.m. Austria. Oh my God, I'm doing a George W. Bush here. Australia, Marie, Australia. and various times in the US. And I was planning, because it was so late at night, I was planning to stay maybe an hour or something. I stayed, and I think I was logging off at 2:15 a.m. It was so much fun. I personally have never ever been on a Stitch Zoom before, or, you know, all of my Stitchy socializing up until that moment has been watching Flosstube, or sharing my stitching on Instagram, or following, you know, others stitching on Facebook groups or Instagram hashtag, or people I follow on Instagram. But I have never ever actually, you know, stitched while you know, other people are, you know, live in real time talking about their stitching. And it just felt like just such a beautiful, it was just wonderful. It's like I am so grateful that I got the opportunity to be included in this, and I wanted to say a huge thank you to Karen and Brendon for doing this free of charge for us stitchers. You know, sacrificing 3.5 hours of their time. You know, and we all know who follow them that, you know, time isn't aplenty. They are so busy with getting out the lovely fabric to us, and setting up their new premises, and, you know, charting new charts, and just doing all these things. And then they still, in the name of building the community and making it accessible to everybody, they still make the point of setting up this Zoom. I mean, I don't know, I just am very grateful. So thank you so much for that. And I wanted to say that they have, I think about 2 weeks ago, announced launching their Patreon. Their Patreon account, I guess. You know, it took me about 2 minutes to decide to become their patron, because it's an absolute no-brainer. And for those of you who don't know what Patreon is, it's a place, it's a website where you get to choose an artist that you'd like to be a patron of for a monthly fee. There are so-called tiers, so it depends, like you can choose how much you want to contribute to that particular artist a month to support their work, and in return they are going to give you some perks. It might be in the form of, in our stitching world, it might be in the form of free monthly charts, maybe an information that you're privy to ahead of people who are not patrons, particularly about new releases. It might be also some physical products. In the case of Fox and Rabbit, I think their highest tier has got, I think, a quarterly, I want to say quarterly fabric actually sent to your address. So there's loads happening there, and I really appreciate those, you know, different tiers, because then you get to support your artist, but also only up to what suits your budget. And you still get that contact. Karen and Brendon really do update us very regularly in the Patreon. So especially if you're, for example, not on Instagram, on the Patreon website, you get a lot of updates on what's happening in their business and in their life. And it's just this like lovely, vibrant community. And there's also a Facebook group for patrons only that goes with that. And I just love the community that Karen and Brendon are creating. They are so kind and so lovely and just funny and very generous, and it's a privilege being able to be part of the community they are creating. So thank you so much, and for those who haven't checked them out, please do. I will put all their details down below. So that was the shout outs, and now let's go on to some stitching updates. So May means new starts, and you know that I was planning to do a new start every Friday. Well, that didn't go well because, you know, that there were a couple of unplanned starts along the way, but I did stick to those planned starts on Friday as well. So on Friday the 13th, on Friday the 6th, I've started the Strawberry Fields by Blackbird Designs. I've showed that in the previous video, and I have not worked on that since, so I'm not going to be showing that anymore. On Friday the 13th, I have started Pet All the Dogs by Teresa Kogut, and I have actually managed to do quite a bit of stitching on this. I have challenged myself to do all these planned starts in hand, because I really have to practice my hand stitching, and it's incredibly fast. Let me just say that. So I have stitched on this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I think a little bit on Monday, I want to say. And this is what I've managed to stitch, right? So that's not a shabby amount of stitching. And let me tell you, this is 2,322 stitches in 4 days. And Monday is a working day for me. So this was just bits here and there. So wow, I am so pleased with the progress I was able to make. It is also thanks to that Stitchizoom, because I had 3 hours of just listening to people sort of, chatting about, lots of stuff, and I was just stitching away, trying not to fall asleep. So I'm hoping there's not many mistakes, because this is a 40 count. It is Fox and Rabbit Flannel Flowers fabric. So I hope there's no mistakes, but I am very, very pleased with it. I'm stitching it with one thread. I sort of stopped mid-stitch, so that's what this is about. One thread over 2 threads of linen, so 1/2. Then there was a second, or should I say third mania start. On Friday the 20th, that's Friday just passed. It's a Seeking Refuge by the Scarlett House. I am co-hosting this as a cell with the one and only Angie at Tiny House Stitcher. And we have just gone with a hashtag Seeking Refuge cell on this. So this is the pattern. I'm sure everybody sort of knows this pattern by now. It's lovely. I particularly love the writing on this. It says, when the world seems to be out of control, I find a way to nurture my soul, seeking refuge with needle and thread, the angst and anxiety no longer I dread. So it's definitely a sentiment that I very much appreciate right now. The starter on this is nowhere near you know, advanced as on Petal the Dogs of Teresa Kogut. This is where I've managed to get. Also, it's only Sunday mid-afternoon here right now, so I still have a little bit to go. But this is what I've managed so far. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm sort of moving it about a bit too much. I'm stitching this on 40 count at Zweigart Vintage Country Mocha with the cold fought threads. This is about 850 stitches. I am a bottom right starter when stitching in hand. When stitching in hoop, either middle or top left or whatever really, but when I'm stitching in hand, it's always bottom right because of the way I stitch. And did I say it's about 850 stitches? Maybe I did. I don't know. I will be all over the place today. I do apologize for that. So that's that start, and for next Friday, the last planned start of May, I will be stitching from the Bells on Christmas Day book by Blackbird Designs, and I will be stitching the lovely needle how do you call it, needle book, and that's this. So that will be next week, and I am planning on using the Fox and Rabbit Flannel Flowers 40 count for that as well, unless I changed my mind when it comes to it, but I don't think I will. So that's Mania, and on to New Start. An unplanned new start, although I did know I'm going to eventually, you know, start it, and I'm not going to be dilly-dallying about it a bit, you know, too much. It is the Kind Words Never Die. In previous video, I have announced winner of a giveaway where I've sent another copy of this chart and a whole sort of kit that I've put together to a lovely subscriber and a winner. Amy, hi Amy, if you're watching, and I have started stitching on this already myself. I am absolutely in love with the gentle sort of but at the same time popping colors of this design. I am stitching this on, surprise surprise, 40 count Fox and Rabbit flannel flowers. I am quite, you know, enjoying this this linen, so you will definitely be seeing me stitch on it probably a little bit more because I've bought quite a bit of it. I've got 2 fat quarters. This is about 600 stitches in here, and I think maybe another 2 stitching sessions and this might be finished. I think I've stitched this in 2 stitching sessions, evenings after work, and I'm stitching 1/2. I have to get used to saying this, but when I say 40 count, it's always 1/2. 2 threads on 40 count would, that wouldn't be for me. I don't know if anybody does that. That would be too bulky. The next whip I worked on was the Home of a Needleworker. I have shown this on my channel previously, but only very briefly because I haven't worked on this for maybe 2 months now, and I have stitched how much? 1188 stitches on this, and that was because I stitched on the house, and it was just you know, just one color, repetitive stitching in hand, and that goes so incredibly fast. This was in 2 evenings, 2 evenings job. I've made a bit of a boo on this. I received this as a sort of put together kit from eBay. I bought it, but I also so I received like DMC skeins, the called for everything, but I also have bobbinated DMC skeins on pip and chip bobbins. I will show you one day my floss storage, that's for sure. And I thought, well, I'm not going to be starting this new skein of floss when I've got a pre-cut, pre-bobbinated floss on my on my pip and chip bobbins. So I just kitted it up from my stash and left the skeins that I received sort of untouched. And when I ran out, I only always put two sort of lots of threads in my stitching lengths on a floss drop, just because when I take the thread out, the thread sort of gets a little bit abused and can get, you know, frayed at the ends a little bit. So I like to keep only two out at one time. So, and I ran out, so I went to top up, and this was meant to be a 420 color, and you know, I take out a 420 and it's not it. Well, turns out that I have taken a 400. I appreciate that you might not see much of a difference in here, but 420 should have been a lot sort of lighter than what this is, and the 400 is the color that it is. However, it is a bit of a happy coincidence. I'm not mad about this, because I feel like, you know, we live in this new build sort of area, and a lot of the houses are these sort of British brick, and it actually reminds me of that color a little bit once it's a bit older. But you know, I'm not gonna be frogging the house. No way in 7 hells would I be frogging this, so I'm just gonna go ahead with it. It's a nice color that pops. It's also used in here and in here, and I personally quite enjoy it. I like it, so I'm going to continue stitching with 400 and call it a happy coincidence. The next whip that I worked on a little bit was this Lucky Nutcracker. I worked on Clara. I've done basically from here and upwards, the head and the sugarcane, and a bit of the bonbon, or how you call it. And I've done 477 stitches on this. It was just when I was tired, and this is a 16 count, I think, Aida, and I just was a bit tired, so I didn't want to. I couldn't even see 40 count even if I wanted to, so I just picked an Aida from my stash and I cracked on with it. Just sort of one block color, and that was all that I could manage at the mental state that I was in. And the last whip that I was working on in the past 2 weeks takes me sort of towards the next point, which was the haul and charity, sort of charity heavy focused haul. You've seen this pattern before. This is a modern Jacob and modern I can't even speak anymore, I'm sorry. Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery. Say it 10 times in a row, I wouldn't be able to at this point. Has released this Birds from Bernard's book pattern, whereby I think he donates 50% of the proceeds on his website. This is only available via his website. So he's donating 50% of the proceeds towards the Brain Aneurysm Foundation. And this is a fundraiser organized by John, husband of Caroline at Evertotes, a Canadian company, and they are raising funds in memory of John's mum, who passed away from brain aneurysm, and he is running a New York Marathon, and as part of that he's also raising, I think it was $5,000, and the last figure I saw was nearing $3,000. So if you haven't yet, I would highly recommend getting this pattern. I think it cost 10 euros if I'm not mistaken, and 50% of this goes towards John's fundraiser. It is absolutely lovely to stitch. Anything that Jacob releases is lovely to stitch, to be quite honest with you. But this is, you know, this is really, really nice. And I'm stitching this on 40 count Zweigart, vintage country Mocha, 1/2, and my chosen color was Classic Colorworks Black Coffee, and I am thinking about adding some red accents on the in the vase, on the flowers, with a terracotta from Weeks Dye Works, if I don't change my mind until, you know, when I get there. I have stitched approximately 400 stitches on this in the past 2 weeks in one stitching session. And now, talking about charity, there's quite a bit that has happened in the past 2 weeks. So Jacob, after releasing this Birds of Bernard's book for the charity I've just spoken about, he has also yesterday released the Move Forward in Love. I'm inserting the picture here. Beautiful pattern in support of Pride Month and the LGBTQ plus community, and 50% of proceeds of sales from this pattern on his website are again going towards charity. He talks about the details of the fundraiser in on his Instagram, and inside the PDF once you have bought the pattern. So I would highly recommend checking it out. Me and loads of my Instagram friends are absolutely, no, yesterday it was just bam 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 bam, you know, people buying this pattern all over Instagram. It's going to be an incredible success. And there is a stitch along that Jacob is organizing on 1st of June, starting on 1st of June. So, you know, if you would like to join in, if this is something that is close to your heart, if you are, you know, if it speaks to you to stitch for charity, please do consider going to his website or his Instagram, where you can find the website link very easily, and consider participating as well. I'm going to put all the details in the link below. What I love about this community is that there is much charity, and there are lots of people with great, amazing causes, and there is a lot of craftivism out there, and there's a lot of people that are talking about minorities, about communities that maybe don't have as many rights as they should have, without any reason. And these people are sort of helping to put a lot of information out there so that we can understand how can we help, or what is needed, or what can we do. Jacob is definitely one of those people, but I wanted to particularly talk about these 20 stitches because they are going to be releasing a Stitch for Pride. It's a hashtag Stitch for Pride. From my understanding, a 30 or 31 day sort of release of posts. I believe it's on their Instagram, but if I'm wrong, you can definitely go to their Instagram and sign up for a newsletter, which is what I've done. So, you know, I'm not entirely sure whether it's going to be just on Instagram or just on newsletter. In any case, they are very responsive on Instagram. I had a question and they came back to me within, like, I don't know, 3 seconds. Really amazing. Very approachable, very friendly, and the way they sort of explain things is helping me understand what is it that maybe I can do for the community. Explaining what happened next. part of my charity haul. Chris Crossstitch has recently celebrated his Flosstube anniversary, his first Flossversary. And the episode is, I cry easily, but I cry every time he plays the Mary Will story on his channel. And as part of, there's a lot of as part of his first Flosstube anniversary, he is doing a charity sort of fundraiser towards the, I've written it down, towards the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, which is a charity that donates books to children so that they can have access to reading books, which is one of the most important parts of education there could ever be. And he is sort of giving away patterns that were created by Aya Rosen. I'm going to link her Instagram down below as well. And they are beautiful teacups with a daffodil. And he is sending out these patterns in exchange for a donation made towards Dolly Parton's Imagination Library. You can either buy Chris a coffee and he will send the patterns in return, or you can send a donation directly via Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, and you will just sort of put Chris's email in there. But I would advise, I'm not going to go into details in here, I'm just going to advise you to go to his latest Flosstube, and he sort of shares complete details in how to get the patterns, how to participate, and more importantly, who Mary Will is, how much impact she had on Chris as a child and as a person, and why is he doing this fundraiser in his in her memory. And it is just a wonderful thing to do. So I can't wait to get my pattern now. I can't wait to start, and I have a feeling that by the time I'm making the next video, I am going to be stitching on this as another unplanned start. The next charity cause I wanted to mention, and I'm going to try not to cry because I'm halfway there already after what I've spoken about in the last 5 minutes. But there is a, if you're in the UK, you definitely know about Dame Deborah James, aka Bowel Babe on Instagram. She was diagnosed with bowel cancer about 5 years ago, and she wasn't even 40 yet. And she has a family, she has a husband, she has children, and her diagnosis was sort of out of nowhere, because young people are not supposed to get this cancer. And she has spent an incredible amount of effort to raising awareness of check your poo, and don't be ashamed to talk about when something doesn't feel right, and what to look out for and what to do. And she's worked tirelessly for cancer research, and she's done podcasts, and she's done so many things. And as it usually is, these people do an incredible amount of work, but they get terribly famous when it comes to the end. And in the last week, I think she has released a series of posts on her Twitter, on her Instagram, in her column in The Sun, and everywhere where she actively was writing about her cancer experience. And it was always called the last post I thought I'd never write. And basically she announced she was moved to a home hospice care. Her therapy has been terminated. She is now just being made comfortable before the end. And always at the end of the post or the article, she's just asking, if I can ask you for one thing, then raise a last glass to me and buy me a last farewell glass before I, you know, as a farewell, via a Bowel Babe fund that she has set up. And that fund is raising funds for cancer research here in the UK, because her cancer was a very rare form of cancer, very unresponsive to treatment. She's basically saying, I've had 5 extra years, you know, after all those times when I thought this, you know, I'm not going to have next Christmas with my family, I'm not going to see my 40th birthday, I'm not going to see my kids go to school or go to high school, I'm not going to see that. She's basically saying, I got this extra time with my family, so please, you know, give a price of a glass that you're raising in, if you've ever been touched by what I do, donate that price of a glass towards that cancer research fund that I have set up. Now, within that week and something, that fund is now at about £6.5 million. And she has also pre-released a book that's called How to Live When You Could Be Dead, full of how to live with gratitude and how to sort of enjoy every moment. That is available to buy. She has also released a rebellious hope t-shirt in cooperation with another company. She's been given damehood, and Prince William has visited her in the past week. So many things happening. Everything is on her Instagram. If you're ready to cry, go and read it for yourself. And if you have been in any way touched by cancer, or if you just want to give anything for an amazing cause, and as a thank you to somebody who raised awareness and who's probably prolonged life of many people, please consider donating to Bowel Babe Fund, either directly or by buying a t-shirt or by buying her book or her roses or anything else that has been released in her honor in the past week. And on a different note, the last of my charity purchases have been from Our Place. Those have been these bright, beautiful cups. Some part of the purchase goes towards a charity as well, and I can't wait to receive them in about 2-3 days time. They will be here, and I am just so excited about it. So those are almost all my purchases. I just wanted to show you that I have been shopping for scissors. I'm starting to build a nice little collection of scissors. This is from Amazon. UK Amazon. I'm gonna link it below, and it's like French vintage scissors. And this is a needle holder, apparently. And these two things, I don't know what they're for. Can anybody tell me? This is very sharp. I'm not gonna use it to stab anybody. I don't know what that's for though. And also this, I don't know what that's for either. Okay, and then this thimble, which is going to be just a photo prop, because I hate to steal thimbles, as we've established already. And now, on to a life update. So, I frequently mentioned that I have been busy. I wanted to publish my video weekly, but these past 2 weeks have been incredibly busy, and I just wanted to address it a little bit. First of all, I said I work in finance. I work in Cardiff, and based in Wales, and Wales has only recently sort of changed their COVID policy into you know, people being allowed to work from the office. So that's what our workplace is doing. So we're going back to the office where I was, and it's absolutely got me totally knackered, I gotta say. And it will be a slow steady start, but it will be, you know, working our way up to 3 days a week. It's a new experience, traveling on a busy train or being in a busy office, but you know, we just have to, I guess, go out there and learn how to be with people again. So that's what I'm intending to do. So that's one reason I have slightly less time. And the second reason is absolutely incredible. Okay. I have been so grateful for this community and for how well received my Flosstube and my Instagram was over the past year and a half or something. And never could I ever imagine that I would be in a position where I'm actually speaking to a lot of people and I'm having such an amazing interaction, and where I'm actually, you know, living, you know, some success with what I do. And 2 weeks ago, around sort of week and a half ago, Jules at Jules Crossstitch reached out to me on Instagram and told me that Sally at Caterpillar Crossstitch is looking for a YouTube presenter, because the amazing Sean at Craftivating Creations is, you know, no longer doing it, which she has announced in the last video that she's done for Caterpillar Crossstitch. And I mean, I could never could I ever think that I would actually be even considered for doing something like that. It's, you know, I'm just me. I'm just this Czech girl, you know, talking to you from her office somewhere in Barry. And you know, I recently started Flosstube, and I just it never even occurred to me that I would be considered for something like that. Sorry, Luna came for a visit. In short, I got into touch with Sally at Caterpillar Crossstitch saying, you know, I've got a couple of Flosstube videos out, and if you think that, you know, this face and this person would be a good option to be your YouTube presenter, you know, would you consider it? And we had a call, and then I came up with some ideas, and then we had another call, and then I got this Caterpillar Crossstitch mug with my name on it, which means that officially I am part of the Caterpillar Crossstitch team, and I am going to be the new YouTube presenter, which, you know, I am just so excited about. I can't even tell you how excited I am about this, how grateful I am for this community, how much it has changed my life. I'm just flying on my pink cloud of happiness right now. And you know, and I want to thank you for all your support and the sort of outpouring and what I get back, what I constantly get back from this community. If there's one thing I understood about this community, is that whatever you put in, you get back 10 times and more. And that is just the most wonderful thing. And on that note, I am going to say goodbye for this week. I am not sure when I'm going to manage to release the next video, because, you know, with work, with commute, and with the new exciting cooperation with Caterpillar Crossstitch, I'm definitely going to be a little bit shorter on time. But my aim would be every 2 weeks, sort of on a weekend video, and maybe Monday upload or something around that. And yeah, that's about it. I thank you. I wish you a lovely, lovely week, 2 weeks, weekend, whenever you're watching this. I wish you all the very best, and I hope wherever you are and whatever you're working on, I hope you're enjoying your projects one stitch at a time. Much love.